progress are different. What's happening in the United States right now is particularly significant, as always, and it's also very revealing. The corporate sector is running a massive propaganda campaign to convince the public to dismiss concerns about anthropogenic global warming, the human-induced climate change. And the campaign is having considerable success. As you can see from polls, belief in what they call a liberal hoax has declined sharply. Now, the executives who are dedicated to this propaganda task know as well as the rest of us that the liberal hoax is quite real and that the prospects are ominous. But they're fulfilling an institutional role. In a market system, they must act to maximize short-term gains. If they do not, they will be replaced by someone else who will. And that's an institutional fact. That's nothing to do with the individual. That means that they must ignore what economists call externalities, that is, the impact of a market transaction on others. In this case, the fate of the species is an externality that they must dismiss insofar as market systems prevail. The logic is the same when executives of financial corporations ignore what's called systemic risk, the risk that a transaction will harm the whole financial system. They understand perfectly well that by ignoring systemic risk, they're likely to bring about a financial crisis, as just happened once again, this time more disastrously than before, and the stage is now being set for the next one, which could be even worse. In this case, however, their behavior is not irrational from their own narrow perspective. By ignoring systemic risk, they can gain enormous wealth, as they have, and they understand that after the collapse of the house of cards that they're constructing, they can flee to the shelter of the powerful state that they nurture and largely control. We've just seen that. The world's leading business journal, the London Financial Times, has briefly summarized, quote them, the one really big change brought about by the financial crisis of the past few years, hundreds of billions of dollars in toxic assets that once sat on the books of have been piled on top of the deficits caused by the crash-induced recession.